Imagine living your life free from the chaos that consumes most people. Picture yourself navigating through life's hardest moments with unshakable calm, making decisions that lead you to peace and power, untouched by the emotions that overwhelm everyone around you. This isn't a fantasy. This is what the Stoics knew, what Marcus Aurelius himself practiced every day as he faced the pressures of ruling an empire. And today, you're about to learn how to think with that same crystal-clear clarity. Stay with me to the end, because once you understand the Stoic mind, no obstacle will ever shake you again. If you're serious about mastering yourself, don't skip a second of this video, and make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay on this path of inner transformation. We live in an era of endless noise. Our phones, our thoughts, the expectations of others. The world wants us to react, to feel, to lose control. But what if I told you there was a way to cut through all of that? What if you could rise above the noise, think with clarity, and live with purpose? This isn't some modern self-help trick. It's a wisdom that has survived for over 2,000 years, the philosophy of Stoicism, and at the heart of it lies Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled the most powerful empire in the world, yet remained a slave to none, not even to his own mind. In this video, we're going deep into one of Stoicism's most powerful lessons, how to think clearly. By the end of this, you will know how to gain control over your mind, face any situation with calm, and cultivate the mental fortitude to navigate life's challenges. But be warned, this knowledge, if truly embraced, will change you forever. So let's begin. Recognizing the fog of emotions. Emotions, they're the fog that blinds us, distorts our perception, and leads us astray. Marcus Aurelius himself, in his private writings, referred to these emotions as impressions, temporary and often false judgments about the world. We feel anger, and it clouds our ability to see the truth of a situation. We feel fear, and suddenly the path ahead seems blocked, when in reality, it's just our mind creating barriers that don't exist. This is the first lesson in thinking clearly. We are not our emotions. Stoicism teaches that emotions are natural, but they are not who we are. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Most of us live as if we are slaves to our emotions, reacting to every feeling as if it defines us. But the truth is, emotions are mere impulses, signals from our body and mind, and it's up to us whether we act on them or not. This is where clarity begins, by recognizing that we are not bound by our emotions. But how do we do this in practice? How do we step back from the overwhelming surge of anger, jealousy, or despair? Marcus Aurelius provides a key insight. Detach yourself from the immediate sensation. When anger strikes, don't react. Take a step back and observe the feeling as if it were happening to someone else. The Stoics called this technique the view from above. Imagine yourself as an outsider, looking down at the situation from a higher perspective. What would you see? More often than not, you'll realize that the emotion is temporary, fleeting, and insignificant in the grand scheme of things. In the heat of the moment, this detachment feels impossible, but with practice, it becomes second nature. Marcus Aurelius trained himself every day to see things as they were, not as his emotions colored them. "If you are distressed by anything external," he wrote, "the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." The fog of emotions can only blind us if we allow it to. Clear thinking begins when we refuse to let emotions control us. Mastering the art of pausing. Clarity is born in the space between stimulus and response. This is where the Stoics found their power, and this is where you will find yours. In the rush of modern life, we've forgotten how to pause. We feel the sting of an insult, and we lash out. We see an opportunity, and we rush forward without thought. But Marcus Aurelius understood that real power lies in the ability to pause, to create a moment of stillness before reacting to the world around us. In his meditations, Marcus wrote, "Don't act out of impulse. Direct every action with purpose." What does this mean in practice? It means training ourselves to create a moment of stillness before we react to any situation. It's in this pause that we can gain perspective, weigh our options, and decide on the best course of action. This isn't about hesitating or being indecisive. It's about taking control of our responses rather than letting them be dictated by emotion or impulse. Imagine someone insults you. Your immediate reaction is to retaliate, to defend yourself, to assert your pride. But in that moment, ask yourself, what will this response achieve? Will it bring you closer to your goals? Will it help you think more clearly? Will it make you a better person? More often than not, the answer is no. The pause allows you to reflect, to see the situation for what it really is, a test of your self-control, not a threat to your identity. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to embrace this pause. "When you arise in the morning," he wrote, "think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." In that pause, we reconnect with what truly matters. The Stoic doesn't rush through life, reacting blindly to every external force. Instead, they move with intention, like a master chess player, always thinking several moves ahead. This is how we begin to think clearly, not by reacting, but by creating space for reason to guide our actions. The world moves fast, but you don't have to. In fact, the faster things move, the more essential it becomes to slow down internally. The pause isn't a sign of weakness, it's the mark of strength. It shows that you are in control of yourself, that you have mastered the chaos within, and that you can face the chaos outside with calm and clarity. The power of perspective. To think clearly, we must see clearly. But seeing clearly isn't about perfect eyesight. It's about gaining the right perspective. Marcus Aurelius often spoke of viewing the world from a higher vantage point. "Look at things from a distance," he advised, "and see how small they truly are." When we are consumed by the urgency of the moment, everything feels overwhelming. But when we step back, we realize that most of the things we worry about are, in fact, insignificant. This perspective doesn't come naturally. It's something we must cultivate. The Stoics called it prosocia, the practice of paying careful attention to what is within our control and ignoring what isn't. Marcus Aurelius, as emperor, faced endless crises, wars, betrayals, personal loss. Yet, in the midst of it all, he never lost sight of what truly mattered. He wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Perspective, for Marcus, was the key to living with purpose, no matter the external circumstances. One way to cultivate this perspective is through what the Stoics called negative visualization. This practice involves imagining the worst-case scenario, not to dwell on it, but to remind ourselves that we can handle it. By facing the worst in our minds, we prepare ourselves for whatever comes. It's a way of grounding ourselves in reality rather than being caught off guard by life's inevitable challenges. Another tool the Stoics used was to regularly reflect on the shortness of life. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself daily that death was not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. "You could leave life right now," he wrote. "Let that determine what you do and say and think." When we remember how fleeting life is, we stop getting caught up in trivial concerns. We begin to see what truly matters, and we stop wasting time on things that don't. This is the power of perspective. It frees us from the noise and helps us focus on what is essential. Cultivating inner fortitude. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is the concept of inner fortitude, the strength to stand firm in the face of adversity, to remain unmoved by external events. Marcus Aurelius believed that this strength came from understanding the nature of the world and accepting it for what it is. The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it, he wrote. This simple truth is the key to cultivating the kind of mental toughness that allows us to think clearly, no matter what life throws our way. Life is unpredictable. There will always be challenges, hardships, and moments of deep uncertainty. But what separates the Stoic from the rest is their unwavering belief that no matter what happens, they have the power to respond with calm and clarity. This belief isn't based on blind optimism, but on a deep understanding of how the world works. The Stoic doesn't expect life to be easy. In fact, they expect the opposite. But because they have prepared themselves mentally, they are never caught off guard. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to see every obstacle as an opportunity. The impediment to action advances action, he wrote. What stands in the way becomes the way. This isn't just a nice-sounding phrase, it's a mindset. Every challenge, every setback is a chance to practice the Stoic virtues of patience, courage, and wisdom. And in doing so, we become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of thinking clearly under pressure. Inner fortitude is not about shutting off our emotions or pretending that we don't feel pain. It's about recognizing that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy. When we accept that we are not victims of circumstance, but active participants in our own lives, we unlock a source of strength that allows us to face anything with clarity and calm. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than anyone, and it's this understanding that we must cultivate if we want to think clearly in the chaos of modern life. Accepting what we cannot control. One of the central pillars of Stoicism is the distinction between what we can and cannot control. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In this simple yet profound statement lies the key to unlocking true mental clarity. So much of our confusion, our anxiety, and our frustration comes from trying to control things that are, by their very nature, uncontrollable. The weather, the actions of others, fate, these are forces that exist beyond our grasp. Yet, we spend countless hours worrying about them, hoping to bend them to our will. The Stoic approach is to focus exclusively on what we can control, our thoughts, our attitudes, our reactions. Everything else is irrelevant. By narrowing our focus to what truly matters, we strip away the noise and chaos that clouds our judgment. Marcus Aurelius referred to this as the art of indifference. It's not that we don't care about the world around us, but rather we refuse to let it dictate our inner state. Whether it's the approval of others, the outcome of a decision, or the twists of fate, we accept that these things are beyond our control and therefore unworthy of our concern. This isn't easy. Our natural instinct is to fight against the things we don't like, to resist the flow of life when it doesn't go our way. But the Stoics knew that such resistance is futile. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have, said Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher. The more we cling to outcomes, the more we surrender our own peace of mind. True clarity comes when we learn to let go of the need for control and instead embrace the flow of life, trusting that whatever happens, we have the inner strength to deal with it. In practice, this means constantly reminding ourselves of the Stoic dichotomy of control. Whenever we face a challenge, we ask, "Is this within my power to influence?" If the answer is no, we release it from our minds. If the answer is yes, we focus all of our energy on what we can do without being attached to the outcome. This mindset frees us from the anxiety and frustration that so often cloud our thinking. When we stop worrying about things outside our control, we create the mental space needed to think clearly and act decisively. Now, if you're ready to take control of your mind and start thinking clearly, subscribe to this channel. Join us on this journey of inner transformation. And remember, the path to clarity is a lifelong pursuit, but it's one worth taking.